Hi, Paul Bedford here from Retention Guru, and in this session, originally recorded back at the beginning of 2021, I talk about developing a retention map. And our retention map is somewhat similar to customer experience journey or a customer journey, except the sole focus of it is retaining your customers. If you have any questions or comments about the content of this session, then please drop them in the comment section down below, or alternatively email me at paul@retentionguru.co.uk and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. For the time being, just enjoy the session. Now, if you're going to develop a retention map, your retention map is the where you're actually going to deploy your interventions. Now, the thing limiting your retention map is your resources. So if you don't have staff, it can be a bit of a problem. So you have to think of other ways of doing it. But this cartoon, I think, sums it up quite nicely. Much of the fitness industry has very sophisticated, very well organized sales processes for finding new customers. But in fact, a lot of people, when you talk to them, what they do to keep customers tends to be at the end of the journey when people want to quit. And there's a big gap between when they join and when they quit. It's often left almost untouched. I talk about it as a river with a waterfall. And I say, if someone falls into the river, when's the easiest time to save them? When they're in the shallow part of the river. Harder when they're about to go over the edge. Almost impossible to recover them once they've gone over the edge. But lots of businesses focus their retention strategies on the bit where they're either about to go or have just left. Someone's put in their notice to leave, and then someone's gone, oh, what can we do to keep you? Actually, it should have been dealt with further upstream. It should have been tackled before they got to that point. So there's this gap, and in fact, this diagram, I think, illustrates it. It's the gap between the two diagrams. Often you'll map out a member journey, but you should also map out where within that member journey you're going to have retention interventions, where you're actually going to place your digital communication, what type of communication. Map out what the month one experience is going to be. Identify within that, do you have an onboarding strategy for, say, your Group X? Do you have an onboarding strategy for your courts, your squash court, your handball, your racquetball, any of those? Do you have an onboarding process? You may not be teaching people how to play the game, but what you will be doing is you'll be showing them how to access the courts, how to book the courts, what the protocols are within the business, rather than leaving them to work that out for themselves. Some of that can be done in an automated fashion. Some of that will need to be done as a one-to-one, depending on the size of the business. But what's your plan to keep people for 2 to 6 months? What are you going to do with them in months 2 to 6? What are the activities? Are you going to start introducing challenges? Are those challenges going to be competitions that you are on a leaderboard where there's one outright winner? Or are these challenges where everybody can contribute? So everybody gets a chance to be successful and gets their name on a board. These types of activities can be very, very useful to get people involved in the business, particularly around when you want to build your rewards and loyalty, which I'll come on to in just a little while. But you can even think about it within things like, this is something we did a number of years ago for an operator who, this is their app, because they do all online joining, and we were mapping out what goes through and what the experience would be with an online joining process. And it wasn't just as simple as, oh, here's an online portal, sign up, you've joined. We started to think about, okay, well, if they've joined online, we need them to download the app. If they download the app, how do we reward them for that? How do we get them to use the app, not just have it sitting on screen 5, buried in a file next to some obscure app that they never ever use? And we started working it through because we wanted them to attend different onboarding approaches. We wanted them to use the app on a daily basis. We didn't want it to be one of these things where they only whip their app out to book a class. We wanted them to use the app for other activities. So what you're looking to do is, within your member journey, is map out these experiences. Now, you could sit down and just make a list. Normally, when I'm doing workshops with people, I'll say to them, make a list of 25 things you could do in month one to help that customer be more successful? And they say 25. I go, yeah. Because if you say 5, people will do 5 and then give up. If you give it 10, they'll do 10 and then give up. What you get when you go beyond the first 10, people start getting really creative and a bit wacky. But some of those creative and wacky ideas are actually very, very deliverable. You look at it and go, we could actually do that. It would need us to do this, this, and this, but we could deliver something different. So you want long lists of things to try. Then go, okay, well, if they did all of those things, what will we do in the next block of time, in 90 to 180 days? What are we doing there to evolve them? We call it assimilation and escalation. Assimilate them into the business and then escalate them into being more advanced exercises, but also into using a wider range of products and services within the business.